25 dead, 14 missing after boat capsizes mid-river in Yobe.
President Tinubu orders manhunt for bandits behind Kaswandaji attack in Niger State.
Nigerian Army foils bandit movement in Kogi as logistics supplier is arrested.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall focus on implementation of the new tax laws.
On June 26, 2025, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took a major step in Nigeria's fiscal reform journey, signing into law 4 landmark tax reform bills passed by the National Assembly.
That's right. And the laws include the Nigeria Tax Act 2025, the Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, the National Revenue Service Establishment Act 2025, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act 2025.
Together, these laws are designed to fix what many describe as a fragmented and outdated tax system and replace it with a more modern, coordinated, and fair framework.
But as expected with major reforms, questions quickly followed. Concerns emerged about possible alterations to the bills after presidential assent.
In response, the National Assembly released certified true copies of all 4 acts on January 3rd, 2026, including the president's signature pages, a move aimed at putting doubt to rest.
Indeed, and implementation was also designed in phases. The first phase takes effect immediately on June 26, 2025.
That's right, Jumai. That phase established the Nigerian Revenue Service, replacing the FIRS, and also created the Joint Revenue Board to coordinate tax collection across federal, state, and local governments.
Then came the second phase, which kicked off on January 1st, 2026, bringing the Nigeria Tax Act and the Nigeria Tax Administration Act into full force.
These 2 laws introduce far-reaching changes from consolidating multiple tax laws into a single code to expanding the tax base to digital and virtual assets.
There's also a progressive personal income tax structure, tax exemption from low-income earners making 800,000 or less annually, and higher threshold for small businesses.
Essential items like food, medicine, and education are 0 rated for VAT, while a 4% development levy on corporate profits has been introduced to fund national institutions.
Now, President Tinubu has been clear that these reforms are not about raising taxes, but about resetting the system, strengthening the social contract, and restoring public confidence in governance.
So what does all these mean for you? Who gets relief? Who pays more? And how do small businesses and salary earners adapt to these changes?
How will the new tax ombudsman resolve disputes? And is the Nigeria Revenue Service doing enough to sensitize the public as implementation begins?
Well, these are the questions we'll be answering this morning. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria, where we break down what the new tax laws really mean for you, for your wallet and your businesses. I am Ademola Adeoye.
I like that, your wallet and your businesses. I hope the wallet will be full enough. I am Jumma Yusuf, joining Ademola to welcome you to the first Monday edition of Good Morning Nigeria in 2026. Happy New Year.
Well, Okay, happy New Year
I've
once
not
again.
seen you since last year. It's good to see you in
Oh,
2026.
really?
Welcome back.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Happy
indeed.
New Year to you
Happy New
too.
Year.
Well, Chukudi Okoli Ogbaja will join us later for the newspaper review right after this time.
Chikudi is going to slaughter you for that name. True, but first, the morning headlines. Ibrahim and Hamidu is standing by. Good morning, Ibrahim. Good morning. Happy New Year. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good morning, Jume, and good morning, Ademola. Here's the morning news. At least 25 people have been confirmed dead and 13 others rescued alive following a tragic canoe accident involving travelers from Jigawa State en route to Yobe State by river. The incident occurred at about 7:48 p.m. on Saturday, January 3, 2026, when a canoe conveying 52 passengers capsized while traveling from Adiani town in Nguru local government area of Jigawa State to Garbi town in Nguru local government area of Yobe State. The victims were reportedly returning from Adiani town, where they were engaged in fishing, farming and other local business activities when the canoe overturned mid-journey. State emergency rescue agencies say 13 passengers have been rescued while 14 others remain missing. A search and rescue operations are ongoing with security agencies, emergency responders and local community volunteers working tirelessly to locate the missing passengers and recover bodies. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the Minister of Defense, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Service Chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, and the Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, to track down and apprehend the perpetrators of the Kaswandaji attack, ensuring they are swiftly brought to justice as well as rescuing all the abducted victims urgently. A statement by Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says the President issued the directives on Sunday in response to the recent killings of villagers in Niger State by terrorists suspected to be fleeing from Sokoto and Zamfara following the United States airstrike on Christmas Eve. While condemning the attack on the Kaswandaji community and the abduction of women and children, the President sent his heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims, the people and government of Niger State as well as the country. President Tinubu assured the people of Niger State that security agencies have been mandated to intensify operations around vulnerable communities, particularly those near the forests that have served as hideouts for criminal elements. He urged Nigerians to remain united and resolute in the face of this tragedy and cautioned against divisive rhetoric that could undermine national security and cohesion during this challenging period. Meanwhile, more details have emerged on the recent attack by suspected terrorists in Borgu local government area of Niger State, which left more than 30 persons dead and many abducted, including women and children.
Joint security effort, not particularly the police, the military, the police, including the state government, local security outreach, they are doing everything possible. And as I mentioned, a lot of operational measures is in the pipeline to ensure that this situation does not occur again.
Niger State Governor Mohamed Morbago has expressed sadness over the terrorist attacks of communities in the Borgu local government area of the state. A statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Bologi Ibrahim, described the terrorist attacks that led to the death of many people, kidnapping of several others, and the destruction of livelihoods as cruel and nefarious. The governor extended his deepest sympathy to the people of the affected communities, especially the victims and their families. The victims of the attack at the Kaswandaji market, Sukumbara village, are drawn from different religious background and communities in Borgu local government area of the state. The governor noted that it is disturbing and worrying that to start the year with such unfortunate incidents, However, he urged the people to remain resolute in God and that his administration is collaborating with the federal government and security agencies to improve the security in the state. He added that joint security team is trailing the terrorists with the view to rescuing the kidnapped victims. Troops of a 12th Brigade Nigerian Army have recorded another successful operation following coordinated patrols and ambush conducted in Kaba, Bunu and Yagba, West local government areas of Kogi State. In a statement by the Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations, 12th Brigade Nigerian Army, Lieutenant Hassan Abdullahi, the troops acting on credible intelligence on the movement of bandits from Adankolo area towards Agbadu Bunu in Kaba Bunu local government area swiftly deployed and laid ambush at the identified crossing point of the terrorists, eliminating 2 bandits and recovering 1 AK-47 rifle. Meanwhile, further intelligence revealed another movement of bandits around Saminaka village in Yagba West local government area where a suspected bandit logistics supplier identified as Sunday Adedotun was arrested from Odo Eri village in Yagba West local government area. Commander 12th Brigade Nigerian Army Brigadier General Qasim Umar CD commends the troops for their professionalism, courage and timely response to credible intelligence, noting that their actions reflect the high level of commitment to duty. And that's the morning news. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Ademola and Jummai after the break.
This year, Nigeria watched, Nigeria listened, Nigeria partnered.
From Arewa to the coast, west to east, one screen, one signal, one nation.
To our viewers, Mungode, thank you for welcoming us into your homes.
To our corporate partners, Eshegon, thank you for trusting us with your brand, your messages, your ambitions.
Together, we share the news that matter, the stories that unite us, the service that strengthens our country.
To those who stayed with us, Ndeonu, Dalu, thank you for believing in a platform that stands for trust, authenticity, and reliability.
As the new year dawns, our promise is renewed. Greater commitment, stronger collaboration, higher professional standards.
More value for our clients, more quality for our viewers.
Because when Nigeria speaks, every voice must be heard.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for partnering. Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify, with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira would be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. State category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, SAC 0209-462-1168, 0916-772-3240. Let's work together to uphold the integrity of Nigeria's financial system. Announcer, FSRCC.
This December, all eyes in Morocco. Africa assemble. All dreams are heading one way.
All passion, all fire. Because here, you play different.
Choose your side.
Show your colors. Bring your flag.
And we welcome you to Morocco.
Get ready for the drama, the passion, the pride. From 21st December 2025 to 18th January 2026, history will be made again.
You guys ready?
Time to wake up.
Afro Sport, your freedom of sport.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Up next is Newspaper Review.
Our newspaper reviewer, Chukudi Okolo-Baja, is seated here in the studio. Chukudi, good morning.
And the beat goes on.
Yeah,
you know,
it goes on.
Whispers of Los Angeles.
Yeah,
the beat goes on. Journalists, doctors, the army, nurses, we don't rest. The beat goes on for us.
Goes on, yeah.
The roads are not well occupied yet. Many private establishments don't actually start till about 15th of January.
Yes,
Debola, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and you?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Good to see you.
I saw you and Mama. What were you eating?
Oh, we're eating akara in the village, and I was telling the world about village akara is far sweeter and more delicious than...
because it's pure, there's no mix.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they mix it with
I enjoyed my time
maize,
there. Yeah. I wish I could make it an annual ritual.
You will, inshallah.
Okay,
let's go to the papers.
I will.
I'll begin with the business NG this morning, Mr. Chukudi, and above the masthead, fuel subsidy removal saving Nigeria over 10 trillion naira yearly. That's attributed to Senator Adeola. We find the details on page 2. Nigerians withdraw 264.48 billion from banks in November. Cash outside system rises to 4.9 trillion naira. 91 trillion naira. You find the details on page 2. And below the masthead, analysts warn Nigeria's tax reforms could hit informal businesses hard. Details on page 2. And 229 bank branches shut in 1 year as POS transactions rise. You find all the details also on page 2. And at the side piece of the picture story, PMI survey shows Nigeria private sector poised for growth amid cost pressures. You find the details also on page 2. Federal government drops criminal case against Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Details on page 2. And resident doctors set to resume nationwide strike January 12th. Want to know all the details, you go to page 2 also. And the bottom plate, Nigeria boosts export as cheaper air cargo and easier payments drive African trade. You find the details on page 2 also. Mr. Demola?
All right, I have the Daily Times newspaper, and just above that nameplate, we have 2027, we will follow Wike's directives. Rivers APC. NICOM rules out deadlines shift as insurers face 10 billion recapitalization test. Then we have the major headline: terrorists kill 42, abduct scores in 2 Niger State local governments. Then we have Kusama Daji killings. Tinubu orders defense, police, DSS to hunt down terrorists. NDLEA intercept illicit drugs in coffee sachet, detains 22 Indians. Well, Chooks, it's over to you.
Thank you. Again, the attack in Niger State, it's another bitter pill we have to swallow. The fight on terrorism, banditry, insurgency is usually a tedious fight. The other time I said what actually complicates it for the Nigerian army is that some of the bandits are relatives of some people in the security forces. Blood is thicker than water. Your plan, somebody takes the phone and wants somebody, you're coming and all that. When people blame government for not ending this thing in one fell swoop, you smile because they don't know the intricacies of it. That's part of the problem.
There are wins and losses. Like the guy that set the bomb in Maiduguri mosque, I think he has been apprehended.
So efforts are being made. It's not as if they're not working.
Commend them for the
I am suggesting strongly to those who are very skeptical concerning how well government is handling the matter that it is not 1 + 1 is 2. That is the issue, really. Not the Nigerian army. I keep on touting it. Let me say touting. Nigerian army, they stopped the wars in Liberia and Cameroon. You can talk about Ecomog. 3/4 of Ecomog then was Nigeria. You understand? So it's not as if one is looking at a festering sore and is not trying to, get it cured. It's really unfortunate. But the souls of those,
it's really unfortunate, actually.
Involved, rest in peace. It's a shame.
Well, in 2026, things should change.
For sure.
Yes.
The appointing Natasha matter, I see that fence mending is continuing in the Nigerian Senate, which I think is very good. There is nothing wrong in conflict. Actually, they tell you
it's healthy.
In business,
it's healthy.
If your company has too much peace, be careful. Something could be happening under there. You don't know. Occasionally, it's stimulated. That is when people begin to come to tell you what some people are planning against the company. But if you can't control it, and then it becomes a raging fire, you get into trouble.
Yes, it's just like when we're kids, when NEPA goes off and then somebody will just come and pinch you. You don't know who is pinching you.
You were raised in the hinterland. No. You brought the mischief into the metropolis.
You're wondering who did it. and it's a good thing that they dropped the charges, and I believe it's healthy for democracy, internal democracy,
very,
and all
very
that.
healthy.
And it's a good thing that they're listening to their pastors,
Yes, because
Demo, did you see that? Did you see that?
Yes.
I'm not going to be mischievous. Otherwise, if I wanted to be mischievous, I would say that the pastor just become an excuse. People were looking for ways of settling this thing. But I won't say it.
There's always a way to make a way. When they say, yeah.
It's good for us.
It's good. It's good.
When they say fuel subsidy removal saving Nigeria over 10 trillion naira yearly, that's coming from Senator Adeola, and Nigerians will say, we've never seen her for ground.
No, we go see her.
The impact.
It dragged on for too long.
It did.
I don't want to punch APC and the rest of them. Otherwise, I would say, why then did you delay removing it? Was it because you were not in government then? We needed to remove fuel subsidy long ago.
It's just that, the past administrations then, is the courage actually to do the right
thing? The political will.
Actually, let's not denigrate anybody. Otherwise, you need courage to lead people at a point. You need courage.
You need
courage.
Say Nigerians withdraw 264.48 billion from banks in November. Cash outside system rises to 4.91 trillion naira. What's happening? Why are Nigerians withdrawing the cash?
Liquidity will always drive a company, but when cash is physical cash, really, as in cash, it is not so good. The immediate fear is they know you have money there, they're coming to your house, or they're going to stop your car and all that.
And the new tax system reform that came into place in Nigeria, I think some people just withdrew large money they had. But why?
But Ayodele has
the
man in charge has explained it. It says nobody is deducting anybody's money.
Nobody is taking
It's just
your money.
that we'll see all the things coming into your account, and at the end of the year, your tax returns must reflect what. That's what he said. Nobody is withdrawing anybody's money. Except if I didn't hear him correctly. I heard he was on a station.
Yeah, I heard him. He has been talking.
That's why there is need for awareness.
Exactly. Awareness. Awareness has to be perceived or taken, but somebody has to stimulate that awareness. Giving out information in due time is very important. Don't take anything for granted. Otherwise, good intentions could easily become the devil they're planning against
anyway,
us.
That's our discussion today on Good Morning.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good one.
229 bank branches shut in 1 year as POS transactions rise. See, the concern now is what is happening.
What concern?
Yeah, I mean, the banks are shutting down and POS transactions are rising,
The POS transactions are hinterland, productivity base. Going from one remote village in Borno to Maiduguri to buy a drug is not the best. That chemist that is in Berinan somewhere is doing you a lot of good. POS has penetrated the economy. It takes banking straight into your household. So we should be celebrating. Let them find new ways of making money. Yeah. Why would you travel 4 kilometers to get to use a bank? So it's good. How did Singapore, Pakistan, the new Asian tigers, Malaysia, how did they get into utilizing small holdings effectively?
Yes.
It was part of it. We actually joined the league rather late.
So it's a good development.
But it's never late to mend. It's a wonderful development.
Resident doctors again.
I saw that one and I didn't know what to say.
I don't know. January 12th.
How do some Christians say, it's not our portion? We go do many things. We say, it will not be our portion.
The other arm is on strike, and then if the resident doctors join the strike, then the whole hospital system
It doesn't make sense anymore that you do it after 2 months, you do another one after 2 months. Somebody may not be being sincere somewhere, or somebody may just be toying with the national life.
Okay.
We cannot go on living like that. It doesn't make sense. The hospitals are a sorry sight as it were.
It's really a pity. Thank you very much, Chooks.
Thank you, Demola.
Thanks for coming. And,
it's good to have you back. I missed you.
I missed you guys.
You guys won yesterday. Was it yesterday?
We did. 6 points clear at the EPL summit.
The Cameroon-South Africa match was awesome in the rain.
No. The Africans have been doing well at CAF.
Exactly.
They
okay.
have.
Yeah.
All right. So, and you have been doing well as well.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll take a break now. When we return, our conversation will kickstart. Stay with us.
From breaking news to heartwarming stories, NTA remains Nigeria's trusted voice. To our partners, government agencies, corporate bodies, political parties, and religious institutions, thank you. And to our millions of viewers, you are the reason we serve. Through every moment, big and small, we tell Nigeria's story with pride, balance, and integrity. As the new year begins, expect more, better programs, innovative storytelling, clearer signals, and fantastic broadcast deliveries that meet global standards. Together, we move forward with stories that matter. Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest network. You can't beat the reach.
You have no better friend and partner than Nigeria. Let this unveiling today be a call to conscience. Let our practitioners hold the line of truth. To the media, please inform with integrity and with a deep sense of patriotism. To our public officers, communicate with transparency. To citizens, please let us speak with empathy. Let us come together to become the voice of responsibility, the voice of the world that heals division, that inspires hope and drives development.
Let's believe in ourselves. Let's have the right attitude. With God, all it takes to get there. Let's look inwards and revive all our infrastructures and galvanize our human and material resources. Nigerians, believe in yourselves. Believe we can succeed. Nigeria, believe. Powered by National Orientation Agency.
Africa, a land of passion, pride, and power. Across this vast continent, the game runs deep. In every back alley, beach, and pitch, a billion hearts beat to one rhythm, the Africa Cup of Nations. We remember the kings of Cairo, when Zambia shocked the world, when Nigeria soared, the dreamers of Yaoundé, when Senegal stood tall, last time the elephants rose. From the thunder of Casablanca to the lights of Marrakech, the stage is set in Morocco. This is where the past meets the present. Where news stories begin. 24 nations, one trophy, but no script. The drums return. The ground shakes. The continent rises. This is AFCON 2025.
32 matches, every Super Eagles game, all live.
This is ours.
Afro Sport, your freedom of sport.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. And before we begin our conversation on the implementation of the new tax laws, here's a background report put together by our correspondent, Timothy Yusuf. We'll be right back after that.
Nigeria's new tax laws took effect from January 1, 2026, aiming to boost revenue, improve efficiency, and provide relief for low-income earners. The four laws are the Nigeria Tax Act 2025, the Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, the National Revenue Service Establishment Act 2025, the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act 2025. The reforms, according to analysts, introduced sweeping incentives, reduced rates, and a more progressive tax structure. Key highlights of the new tax laws include tax relief. Here, workers earning less than 800,000 naira annually are exempt from personal income tax, while middle-income earners will see reduced payee deductions. Second, simplified tax system. This new law here consolidate and simplify multiple existing tax statutes, making it easier for taxpayers to comply. Another is increased thresholds. With this, small companies with annual turnover not exceeding 100 million naira and fixed assets below 250 million naira are exempt from CIT, capital gains tax, and development levy. Lastly, VAT exemptions. Here, essential goods and services, including basic food items, medical products, and educational materials, are zero rated for VAT. Though the implementation of the new tax laws is believed by many to have sparked controversy, with some opposition lawmakers and other stakeholders alleging unauthorized changes to the gazetted laws. However, President Bola Tinubu has dismissed these concerns, stating that the reforms are a once-in-a-generation opportunity to build a fair and robust fiscal foundation. For more, let's now join our guests in the studio to deal with the focus, implementation of the new tax laws.
Thank you very much, Timothy Yusuf, for that background report. And some of the issues that we have raised are noted by our guests who are already in the studio to discuss the new tax laws. And joining us first, let me just introduce Dr. Kennedy Iwundu. He's an associate professor of forensic accounting at ICT University, Cameroon. He is also a managing partner, Accounting Tools Consulting. He's also the immediate past chairman of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, Abuja District. Dr. Iwundu, it's good to have you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Also joining us here for the discussion is Ishao Aliu, an economist. Ishao, it's good to have you again.
Thank you. Good morning.
To always have you join us. Okay.
Thank you.
And also seated here in the studio is Femi Olarinde, SA Tax Policy, Nigeria Revenue Service, Head Fiscal and Tax Reform Implementation Division. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria as a regular.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank
with
you.
A new name. And we also have here in the studio Chris Kaka, economist and policy analyst, National Coordinator, Trade Network Initiative. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
So, gentlemen, it's good to have you once again, and we are looking at the new tax laws. There have been a lot of issues surrounding these tax laws, and like our viewers would like to know, what are the key objectives actually of this tax law? Let's start with the essay. Mr. Olarinde, can you just give us the key objectives of these tax laws, at least as a background?
Okay, thank you very much for having me in the studio and to also give some clarification. So when the new government came, and we already know there's a lot of things that we've been battling with over time. AKE laws, laws from 1939, we have fragmented tax systems, we have everyone collecting taxes. And of course, no business or no economy can actually thrive in this manner. And what did the president say? Can we have an harmonization of the tax system? Can we have a tax system that taxes as prosperity? Can we have a tax system that taxes fruit rather than the one that taxes poverty? And so the major objective and policy objective of this tax reform was to ensure that Nigeria do not tax poverty, but tax prosperity. Nigeria do not tax capital, does not tax the seed, but it tax what? It taxes fruits. And so the major underlying objective is to stimulate the economy, ensure that the younger ones or the small businesses can grow before financing government. And while the large businesses that are in the sector can have rules that make tax neutral, which means that you do not even think about tax before doing business. It's only when you are profitable, then you start thinking about, oh, the economy has been good for me, so why don't I contribute? So the underlying objective is to stimulate the economy and ensure that business can grow and thrive before paying taxes.
I still want to stay with you. I want to wrap my head around these tax reforms. There's a lot of confusion out there. We have to accept it that Nigerians really want to know what the tax is all about and how it affects them. So you said there's no changes. So in practical terms now, how different is this tax reform laws, from the previous tax regime that we've had? Okay. Can you break it down in practical terms so that I can also understand and the viewer can too? Okay, when I say there's no changes, I'm sure you're bringing the discussion we had before before we started. So when I said there's no, because you said, oh, your salary is already being deducted, and so if money is paid into your account, do you have to now be worried about taxes on money paid into your account? No. So what we're saying is that why the issue of account, how did it come about? Now, in fixing the problem, fixing the tax system, the first thing is to go to the foundation. What is the foundation of fixing the problem? You need to first identify your taxpayers. And this is provided for in our Constitution. Section 24 of the Constitution clearly provides, say every citizen shall declare their income truthfully and pay their taxes to the lawful agency of government. And so that is the basis for identification. And who are those every citizen? That is what the tax ID now seems to address. And this provision of registration and tying with bank account has been there since 2019. And what does it mean? It's just to identify the citizens, because tax is a financial matter. And where is the financial source? Is the banking transaction. Before we now go to other business sources, which we have commercial papers, invoices, receipts, and all those ones. So government is just having what? Going back to the foundation, identifying citizens. And so when you start your bank account does not mean government wants to charge your bank account. Now, what it does is that we can know that it's this same person, and we don't go about chasing other people because they are bearing Aisha Adamu, and you can see 20 Aisha Adamu. But once you have an identifier, and the identifier is biometric in nature, because it's looking at your NIN, which is already compulsory for every Nigerian. I'm not saying you should get a new one. So some have TIN, which is also compulsory for all taxpayers. BVN. So what it's doing at the background is harmonizing them. And that is what the tax ID is. Nobody is saying, and that does not mean your bank account is charged. So if once your tax has been paid, it's been paid. But what the law says is that at the end of the year, everyone, according to the Constitution, must declare their income. So in declaring your income, of course, you take account
of the taxes that's been deducted from your salary, like you said, in the course of the year, because tax is an annual payment. So you take that and take away the tax that's been deducted. So if you have what we call a side hustle, you may be a compare. Even outside the NTA, you may be a compare somewhere, and you've earned other income. You need to declare that too. So if NTA have deducted your pay as you earn and remitted, you also need to declare the other income you earned. So this is the process of the law, and it has been like that from time immemorial. And that's why I said it has not changed.
In other words, the new tax regime is going to capture all the revenue that comes into someone's account. That's what you're saying.
No. Today,
yes.
What the best your account can be used for, your bank statement can be used for, is just one of your documentation. Because when you are filing your returns, you must file your income. You must show, oh, I've earned 1 million naira. That is part of filing your returns. And you are expected to keep books of accounts. That is normal. Every business is expected to keep books of account. And every individual needs to also declare there's a declaration form which the tax authority always give individuals. And so those are the things, documentation. That's just it. Nobody is taxing your bank account. So,
anyway, there's still need for more clarification on this, because a lot of people are confused. From what you have said now, the tax is just to, stimulate the economy and also for the benefit of the low-income earners. All right, fine. We'll dive more into this discussion. Let's bring in Dr. Nwedu now. Earlier on, some people in the society have called for a postponement in the implementation of this tax law, but the president has insisted that it has, to commence, that there is that the controversy will be looked into. And what is your take on this?
Okay, thank you. My take is the alteration that was alleged when 8 sections of 448 sections of the Nigerian Tax Administration Act. So my view is that those alleged sections does not really matter in terms of suspending the entire sections of the. So I believe that my view has always been, if we suspect that some sections were altered, you can suspend those sections, then implement the rest of the act and investigate to know actually whether they were actually altered or not. Remember, it's an allegation. So that is my view, because the act on its own has a lot of benefit for Nigerians. So many benefits for Nigerians. So you can't suspend the entire act, suffering Nigerians. I'll give you an example. The Nigerian Tax Act has stipulated that companies that earn turnover of 100 million and below are exempted from paying corporate taxes. It's good for us. In this case, this year, so many companies will be totally not taxable. That's what the dominant. So before, what we have is 25 million and below. Now the law has taken the threshold from 25 million to 100 million. So if you suspend it, you now want people who turnovers are 100 million and below to pay tax. Is it what we want? I don't think we want that.
No, we want to.
Exactly. So why would we now suspend the whole thing? So the idea is, okay, the allegation that 8 sections out of 148 sections of Nigerian Tax Administration we are alleged to have been altered. So what do? Set up an investigation panel. National Assembly can work with the executive to know what really happened. Let them bring their harmonized copies and look at the one that was gazetted. And you go ahead and implement. So if at the end of the day they were actually altered, you find out those who altered and punish them. And use the instrument of finance and amend them to what you want Nigerians to be. But when you find out that they were not altered, you go ahead and let Nigerians know these were not what? Altered. So, but the act itself has a lot of benefit. This is about business I'm talking about. And that one is, the new act also provided that if you are going into business, I won't tell him, my wife this morning, that I'm going to set up an agricultural company. If you have an agricultural firm that is into agricultural activities, for these next 5 years now, the company is exempted from paying tax. Completely exempted from paying tax, no matter the turnover you have. is the good thing for Nigerians. And now, those earning income of like 18 million, 17 million per annum and below, their tax liability is reduced. Their tax liability is reduced. We also have a situation where if you buy an asset, the VAT you suffered on those assets or equipment you bought are recoverable. You can recover them.
How?
Last year, or let's say previously, if you buy an asset and you suffer VAT in the purchase of that asset, they won't allow you to recover that VAT. They will ask you to treat it as part of the asset. You capitalize it. But the new law says no, you can recover those assets. So many companies that will normally engage in heavy assets, equipment acquisition, have opportunity now to recover as much VAT they have suffered in assets.
Well, I like the fact that we're getting clarifications today, and I'm sure Nigerians watching this program will like to send in their comments, and questions for our guests here, so that they can clarify some of the issues that you feel you need clarification on. And I like the fact that the tax reforms are out there. You can just access them and then know what's going on. Nigerians should do that. Let's bring in Yushau Aliu into this conversation now. People have talked of long-term, short-term, impact of this tax law on the economy. So what are the likely, low-hanging fruits there?
You see, obviously, no system can thrive without proper tax laws. We have to also understand that at any point in time, there exists a law that is guiding ABC in the system. And that law has to be watched carefully by the players, not by the government, because the government has its own sources of raising revenues. And then the potential of tax, some of us economists have been calling the attention of the government that why relying on one source, and then why giving high taxes, why not look at the tax base and then modify the tax rate, and then arrive at meaningful sources of revenues that will stop borrowing. So two things are obvious. One is that improving the revenues. Second, now reducing the burden to the economy in terms of borrowing. This has to be clear. And notwithstanding, when we look into the matter and we look at the time spent and we look at the commitment so far, Nigerians were not even conscious of what it takes to have a tax law in the first instance. That's why when the reform agenda came into effect, now predators, political predators, I call them, only wanted to hear sharing formula. And the entire concept of this tax reform was centered on who is to benefit, not who is to pay, how to pay, and when to pay. And these are critical in any tax administration. I have gone through the Tax Administration Act, and what even gave me some courage and then some concern is examination by the State Revenue Service to examine and assess individuals who are to pay these taxes. It's a point of contention. It's a point where every citizen has to understand that there is now a law that is guiding an authority to examine your income and then make assessment and then tax you. So once you have this scenario, that shows that in any business environment, when somebody is to examine you, and remember, Mr. Femi has quoted part of the law that you must provide truthful statement of your income. So are we all ready to give that? So if we are ready, then there is no point at which, for now, we can now converge and say suspend, postpone. I am not. Look, how do you suspend Petroleum Industry Act just because you want to reshape Dangote and other players. You can't. But the best thing to do anytime when a process of law is taking place, the elite, the civil society, the professionals, if you don't have consult, if you have, use them. But it's not good for a law decision body of a state to call for postponement of a law that they know the background. Do you understand? They know the background. There were a lot of town halls considerations that went round. But the governors, let me be specific on that, subnationals only wants to know under the principle of attribution, under the principle of derivation, where are these funds going? But now, the law has specified who is taking this and who is taking that, and who is paying this and who is paying that, who is to pay this. But now the misconception is some people are trying to show that even these taxes are going to be more disastrous in the future. No, these are things that we call discounting of future in economics. Just because there are disasters in the future, why can't you study them now before the future, so that if there is anything that you know is going to be harmful in the future, the laws are flexible, they are not rigid. We can look into it, make certain adjustments, and then allow the business environment. The concept generally, if you are reforming, if you are checking your monetary policy, and then you are checking your fiscal policies, and you want them to function, and you have a target in that economy, under a modernized system, you have to understand the practicalizations of your aggregate instrument to be used, especially this called tax laws.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Aisha, for your perspective there. Let's bring in Chris Kaka. Let's get your perspective on this, alleged unauthorized, alteration to the tax law. How do you think government needs to address these allegations? What do you think government should do?
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, listeners, and Happy New Year. I think the alleged alteration is quite most unfortunate. Like has been observed, it was just one single member of the House of Rep that actually made that observation. And as we speak today, I don't think the executive have been able to respond to that. Neither is the upper house. The Senate also been able to make comments about it. But having said that, I feel the suspension wouldn't fly in the first place, because if you suspend it, it means there is actually no tax law operating commencing from January, because the existing one has already been repealed, as it were. But for me, I feel what has really happened with the new tax law must be embraced. Must be embraced, because if you understand that taxes is not about just generating revenue for the government to actually do, be able to carry out its civic responsibility, it's also a way of income redistribution. And if you look at this particular new tax law, it has actually helped to a large extent in actually achieving that. I mean, how more could you expect that if you earn your first 800,000 naira, which most very poor Nigerians don't even earn that much, if your taxable income is 800,000 naira per annum, you are not expected to pay tax. Mind you, under the old tax law, your first 300 is taxed at 7%. Your next 300 is taxed again as well. At the end of the day, you might be taxed almost about 18% your first 600,000 naira before the other 200 is taxed. But under the system, there is actually no tax. Small businesses, again, are just not expected. I mean, nano businesses will actually come. So the whole idea is to see how we can actually help these people to concentrate on generating revenue, to actually promote development, also help government in generating employment, dealing with the issues of unemployment we have in the country, rather than actually focusing more on issues of how to pay taxes, because a lot of them also wants to find a way of actually avoiding and evading the payments of those taxes, because it's also a burden for them in running the business. So for me, it's actually a good development. However, I will expect to see the executive come out and actually correct the alleged alterations that has actually happened. Because even the alterations we are talking about, nobody has come to say this is exactly what it is. It's neither here nor there. The alterations spoken about is neither here nor there. So my advice would be that it's important for the executive to come out and say, look, the alleged alterations don't actually exist. But having said that, it's important to say that it is part of the responsibility of the National Assembly in sitting as a unit, not just one individual coming out and trying to bandy around walls, to also to also make observations about any documents that is actually flying around, because in the first place, they are the ones who actually make the law. If you look at the responsibility of a lawmaker, one is about lawmaking, one is about representation, the third one is about oversight. And to the extent to which representation is concerned, is representing the constituency, and it means that the interest of that constituency must actually be carried along in the document. And to that extent, in view of that particular responsibility, they have a right to say, look, as a group, this is what we have observed, this is what we have observed. Can somebody respond to it for us, as it were? So for me, the observation is not actually wrong. However, perhaps the way it has actually gone around, because the House of Rep itself, as a group, has actually not come out to say this is it. It's just one individual, neither has the upper house itself been able to say anything about this. So for me, I think it's a good one. But let me quickly react to something that Mr. Ola said earlier on, and an observation that was actually made. Yes, we agree that, incomes, there is a fear that the incomes that come into your bank account will not actually be taxed and all the rest of it, because people were saying you better properly label an amount that comes into your account, because they think it's an income and they are going to tax it. What happens is, in fact, you are the one to actually file your tax. If you are not a government worker where your taxes are taking first-line charge from your own income, you are expected to actually file your tax return. And it is when they find that there is an error in your tax return that they want to begin to say, okay, let us investigate what has happened. So they don't barge into your bank account and want to take it. But I have a problem, and I hope that is also contained in the document I read, is the excise. In fact, they started with the telecommunications. Earlier on, there was an excise of, an amount on it. Let's deal with that of the bank account. There's a stamp duty of 15 naira. 15 naira really seems insignificant at it were. But then if you look at this, on my account, for using the Nigeria Interbank settlement system, there's an amount I'm charged for it. There's a monthly account maintenance services I am actually charged. For short message services, there's a 4 naira charge on it. If you aggregate all this together, then you then add another 15 naira for every amount in excess of 10,000 naira that I'm actually made to transfer. If it's my salary, it's not affected. If it's from my account to another account of mine in another bank, it's not affected. But beyond that, I'm having to pay that 50 naira. It may look small, but when you aggregate the amount of transfers you do, it becomes huge. And in light of what is also existing that you were paying before, the SMS, the bank charges, there's a VAT as well, mind you, of 7.5% every time I actually have to do that, all that kind of transaction. If you look at all of them, aggregate them, it's a huge amount of money. And so those are one of the two observations I feel I found a little bit not too clear about.
Okay, maybe Mr. Olari, do you want to respond to those two observations from Kaka?
Okay, thank you. Actually, what he has raised as an observation about the stamp duty is 15 naira. I would say this provision has been in the law from time immemorial. I told you the Stamp Duty Act is a law of 1939. That provision has been in the law since 1939. So in 2019, and what happened? In fact, the what do you call it now? The 10,000 naira used to be about 4 naira before in the law. In fact, the 1939 law. So in 2019, he said no. Why are we still doing this kind of provision? And so what did they do? The law was amended and created what we call the name was changed from stamp duties to electronic money transfer levy and raised the bar. If not, every amount you send would have been chargeable to that stamp duties. But in 2019, the law was amended and it was now said, 10,000 naira and above before the 15 naira will be charged on it. Now, that is 2019. Now coming back to this law, what the law now just changed, you say, okay, why did you relabel it? Because there were some discussions around that. Why don't you just still leave it as stamp duties? Because the labeling is still in the process of having more taxes. So people say, I have electronic money transfer levy, I have stamp duties, And also, there is also a stamp duty. So the stamp duty is either on receipt or on transfer. So the law says where it is chargeable on receipt, the transfer home will not subsist. So in such transactions, so what has happened is like, it's not a new provision, and that 15 naira is there. It has been there before today. If Nigerians or people had a problem with it, when this law was being made, within this more than 1 year, that would have been some of the issues that were raised. But what did the tax reform committee do is to harmonize and say, why do we have to have another type of tax, AMTL, in the name of stamp duties? Because it was AMTL, but it was under the stamp duties law. So let's just say stamp duties on electronic transfer of money. And that is what happened. And again, another thing that changed was on who now is being chargeable. That is another thing that the law now prescribes, so that the taxman or whoever is made does not use his own discretion. And to make it clear, this is what is in the law. And it is not a new provision. So if, and again, on what is it charged? The 10,000 is what you transfer. When you talk about VAT, VAT is tax on consumption of goods and services. What you pay VAT on is not on the 10,000. It's on the service the bank renders to you in the course of transferring. And what is that service? It is not on the 10,000. So the bank can say, for me to transfer this 10,000 for you, I'm charging you a 65 naira. The VAT you pay is just 7.5 on the 65 naira. So I don't know how much the bank charges now, but the VAT is on that amount. And that is a VAT rule, which is different from the stamp duties rule. And stamp duties rule is just to ensure that when there is a discrepancy or there is a controversy between you and the bank, that is the bank, whoever is doing businesses, because you have gone into an agreement to perform something. The stamp duties law is inviting government into your personal transactions. And what does it say? It says that such matter, before it can be tenable in the court of law, there must have been a stamp duties paid on it because there's an agreement. Okay. Whether it's verbal, in fact, you have signed a document to the bank before, allowing them to transfer or to on your accounts. And so that agreement, to make it tenable in the court of law, is why we have the stamp duties. And so that is what the stamp duty is meant for, until we agree that it's going to be exempted. And the law says that there's a threshold, not everything. I say 10,000. What we can, so that is my response to that, because it's not a new thing.
Okay, there is also this issue of, proper labeling of your transactions. A lot of people are confused now. When they tell you that, oh, when you any money you transact now, you send to people, if you don't label it properly, you are going to be deducted. There will be deduction from it, and tax. So if you are sending money, you must write either gift, or you must have rent. You must have, all that. Can you just?
When you're using what's that? But when you're using USSD, how do you specify?
So please, can you just give us clarification on that? Okay. Because a lot of people are confused.
Before you clarify, because today we're not just asking the questions. Our viewers are also sending. There are some, because of time, let me read some of them. He said, while you respond to that, said, what exactly counts as taxable income under the new law? E.g., winnings, crypto, online earnings, and gifts. And number 2, he said, how are tax brackets calculated for sudden income like lottery or betting winnings? How will taxpayers file return digitally if they have limited access to technology? Will citizens have access to public reports showing how tax revenue is spent? Will the government review the law periodically to address challenges or inequities? Inequities. How can citizens propose amendment or feedback to make the system fairer? Are there plans to adjust thresholds like the 800,000 exemption for inflation or cost of living changes? While you respond to, let's see.
Okay, thank you very much. Big time. I'm trying to, your questions now is taking away what I was speaking about. Okay, so labeling is simply some people creating content on social media. So when someone says, oh, these are the 10 things you write to avoid taxes. No. Nobody charges taxes on labor. So I started with the grand norm of Nigeria, which is the Nigerian Constitution, that provides the basis for taxation. And that is where we start everything from. Every citizen must declare their what? Income. So tax is on income. So individual companies, we start from the foundation. Is it an income? That is where we start from. For the taxman to charge you tax or to ask you for tax. And in fact, thank God Dr. Kaka mentioned that it is based on your income. You must have also earned an income. Nobody is going after me and you transferring money to ourselves and all those things. However, we also agree that there can be people who are trying to play smarts and be fraudulent. It's only when the taxman suspects same that he asks for further. What the law says is you have power to call for further documentation. Because the law prescribes that you should file your returns. So whatever you declare as your income is what the law taxes, is what you are being paid tax on. Because why? The law trusts the citizens. So we have what we call voluntary tax system.
Do the citizens trust the law?
No. The law trusts them. So the first basis is, I'm the one to compel you to do something. But I trust you. So I've given you some latitude. I say, declare your income. File your returns. And what do? You do what we call self-assessment. Assess yourself, irrespective of whatever you write as your labor. You yourself will say, okay, this is my bank account. I think I have 500 million. 200 million out of it is what my income is. My uncle sent me a certain amount to build a house in the village. Some certain amount were recovered from GoFundMe for my charity case. All those ones, you know yourself. So because the law has put the onus of self-declaration on you, so you do that. It's until the taxman now say, oh, I can see 1 billion in your account. You drive a Rolls Royce. You do this. And I think I need to look into what you have declared. That's when the taxman asks, can I first have your bank statement? Or can I have other documentation? Can I have receipts of transactions you do? Can I have an agreement you sign with? So these are documentation. So when you label, and again, all those people who are talking about labeling, how much is in that bank account? And
he's talking about winnings from crypto,
so winnings. So
online
again, we
earnings
come back
and
again. Are those things income? So if you win from crypto, is it an income?
Or lottery.
Is it an income? Yes, it is for crypto. You are into business of what? Digital. You are into business of digital assets transaction. You may be in trading. You may even be to buy and keep and make an income. So if it is an income, yes, it is taxable. And now you're saying, how will government...
Okay, are you saying that dividends from maybe shares and stocks...
they are taxable.
They are taxable as well.
Okay, let's pause you there. Let me bring in Mr. Nwodu into this conversation now. Does the law, in your opinion, prioritize revenue generation over economic growth?
In my own perspective, two of them should be married together, because if you don't have that revenue being generated, how will you achieve economic growth? Economic growth can be achieved if the revenue is generated, because it's from the revenue generation that government is going to use to run its business. I was in the United States some time ago, and I was looking at the budget of Houston, Texas. Houston is a city in Texas. The budget of Houston is more than the budget of Nigeria. I'm not talking about the budget of Texas as a state. The budget of Houston is just a city in Texas, just like having a bar in Abia State. The budget of Houston alone, I converted it, is more than the budget of Nigeria. So I was asking myself, that's why some people are having quality of life somewhere else more than others. And one of the major challenges Nigeria is having is revenue generation. Are we really generating a lot of revenue to take care of our needs, our infrastructure? And again, even the little we are generating, are they being transparently used? Is there appropriate accountability? Because in taxation, there's what we call tax transparency. The tax transparency has two legs. One of the legs is that, just as it says, Section 424 of the Nigerian Constitution says, every citizen that is taxable should declare his income and pay taxes. Then another aspect of tax transparency is that government, upon collection of those taxes, must also show a level of transparency and accountability in the use of taxpayers' funds. And that's why in the Constitution they say government has the primary responsibility of providing welfare and security for the citizens. And how will government provide that welfare and security? It's from the revenue they generated from taxes. Remember, some countries run on taxes alone. We are complacent here because we are getting oil and all that. Some countries today is only taxes they run on. They tax citizens and corporations and use that money to run the state. And that's how it's supposed to be. So when we talk about revenue generation and economic development or growth, two of them should be complementary in nature, because without you generating enough revenue, you cannot achieve. Like somebody said that Nigerian infrastructure, before you can fix Nigerian infrastructure, you need over 80 trillion. You need over 80 trillion naira to fix our infrastructure. How will you generate that money? How will you generate it? You're going to generate through revenue generation before you can fix the infrastructure, because the infrastructure is what going to speed up the economic growth and development. That's what the infrastructure, like during this festive season, you learn that some people slept on this Lokoja road 2-3 days. The road was so bad. The construction is going on, and the road was so bad. And you remember that across the Nigerian roads today, one of the things fueling insecurity is bad roads. Because those bad boys, we wait on the bad spot. If all the roads in Nigeria, like the roads we see in Abuja here, this security will go, because where will you stop vehicles? So what we are saying is that government needs this revenue to make sure that they fix our infrastructure and speed up our economic growth. However, government also needs to show that level of accountability and transparency. And when I use government, I'm not talking about federal government alone.
Collective.
I'm talking about state and local government. And we as citizens should ask our governors, what are they doing with the funds allocated to the state? Yes. What are the local government chairmen doing with the funds allocated to local government chairmen? Remember that even on this new tax regime, in all the VAT being collected, federal government is returning 10%. And the entire 90% is going to states and local government. Similarly, in all that tax collection, both in company income tax, stamp duty, federal government takes a portion and the rest of them go. So the question, what are the state governors doing with their funds? We expect every month for each state governor to publish revenue generation, federal allocated funds, and what they did with it.
Okay.
We expect that. Because for people, Nigerians, one of the reasons why Nigerians are afraid of paying tax, are angry over tax, is that Nigerians has complained that government has not shown adequate transparency and accountability. Because let me tell you, Nigeria, if government will show transparency and accountability with taxpayers' funds, Nigerians will pay tax. Nigerians will not hesitate in paying tax. But what we want to tell Nigerians today is that the new tax law has even reduced the burden for the low-income earners. The new tax law is about high network individuals. And we also want to say the government will also have that political will to tax the high network individuals so they can generate enough revenue to run the economy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wedu. You have, in fact, answered a lot of questions that a lot of Nigerians are asking, and that is the issue of transparency and accountability. It's not that Nigerians don't want to pay the tax, but the fear is when we pay the tax, we want to see the reality on ground, the impact, the social amenities and infrastructural development. And okay, Ishao, I mean, Nigerians right now, I mean, a lot of are saying that they are facing a lot of hardship, and you are now coming in with this tax, this tax regime, how do you begin to balance? How do you think government can balance, the need for revenue generation with economic hardship, being faced by Nigerians right now? What do you think government should do?
On that principle of taxation,
yeah,
all of us don't want to pay tax. There is tax apathy.
Yeah.
If you translate pay as you earn for 1 month and ask every worker to go and pay revenue service, the taxes for a month, you will see the result. The parameter will shock you. But nonetheless, if you are to balance a system to have a collective prosperity, then the principle of quid pro quo, returns benefit of any tax paid, should be at the top of the agenda. Meaning that I have an experience recently in Enugu State. When I went, people are willing to pay taxes because when you go to Enugu, you see security surveillance everywhere. You see construction going on everywhere, and people don't bother about that apathy because they pay because what they are seeing is greater than what you are paying, and that is the transparency concept in paying of taxation. But however, transparency began with the laws. It's unfortunate that we are discussing distortion in a signed law. There is a moral question to that, and it's very dangerous for us to have a sustainable tax system which every Nigerian will agree to pay. But notwithstanding, it's obvious government should to have targets for the economy. But not only having target for the economy, you have to look at the monetary target of the economy, the fiscal target of the economy, and the individual aspirations. If there is work going on, people will be happy and they will have more trust on the system.
So when they can see.
Yes. Now, a lot of citizens are displaced from even their environment, are displaced. How do you want those people to pay taxes when they are losing everything? How do you want people living in IDP camps to pay taxes when they are displaced from their legitimate environment? So I think now it's not only the question of coming with the law, accepting the law, paying the taxes, but making use of these taxes, because it is quite agreed that if we check the revenue base of the federal government, what customs can generate in 24 hours is high. And now that resources is going to one central account under Nigeria Revenue Service, then we are expecting efficiency, not only in the collection, but in the distribution. Not only in the distribution, but in applications of those resources to speed up. If taxes are exempted on agri-goods, we are expecting agri-goods to be cheaper, and that will leave people with their purchasing powers. If taxes are exempted pre-medical, then certain chronic illness should also be taken into consideration by the Revenue Service. Because under corporate social responsibility, there are areas at which you cannot just sit and then put those in the authority in the comfort zone, and then those who are at the peasant set up at a very disturbing chronic illness like this, cancer, all these things, diabetes, yes. These are things that call for immediate intervention. And not only doing that, Dangote, for instance, was asked to use taxes to pay to build road infrastructure. Why can't we use similar for health facilities in the geopolitical zones? So there is need to put, this will give a lot of confidence. Okay. If there is special design to have from the revenues of taxation, that this is a product of taxes, that you have cancer center in these geopolitical zones, people will begin to appreciate and then know that the system is also going along with their aspirations.
Exactly, because health, they say, is wealth. Good roads. Because I like the fact that Mr. Nwandu mentioned the local jar highway. This is a topic for another day because it has been there for like forever. Yeah. And yes, and nothing actually is being done about it. Every year we see people, you know, spending days on the road, and I believe maybe taxation will sort of help. Mr. Kaka, let's look at the multiple taxations that Nigerians face. I don't know if this law will be able to address them.
Oh, okay, fine. I think the truth is, what you just mentioned is one of the things that actually the new tax law has come to address. There were, you know, multiple taxes everywhere. There was the PI, personal income tax, capital gain tax, company income tax, different kinds of taxes. And at a point in time, the administration of it was also becoming cumbersome and complex. And what this new tax law has done is to harmonize everything. Yes, the administrative responsibility might be given. I mean, if I live in Abuja, for instance, now, it does not take away, the new tax law does not take away the administration of my personal income with the FCT. The FCT, IRS, still collects my tax because I live in the FCT. Yes. Same things with other states, as it were. But what it has done, it has actually harmonized all the laws available. And that's one objective this particular new tax law has actually done for us. Before, there were some, you heard Mr. Ola quoting things of 19, some of the tax laws were so old that some of them you don't even remember, except you begin to open the law books and begin to see that they actually exist. And there were a ridiculous amount attached to them, and some of them implementation of it has also been. So one very particular objective this particular new tax law has actually done is to actually help harmonize and aggregate all available tax law. Having said that, let me react to a couple of things that has been discussed in the room. One is issue with development financing. I think I said it in your studio some time ago. Every government across the world, I said it the other day, go and check the debt to GDP ratio. I mean, just check the debt profile. Debt to GDP ratio might be high. Check the debt profile of America as a country. It is higher than ours, but then they've got a means of actually being able to sustainably pay off their debts. So borrowing money is actually not wrong. So there is an issue with development financing. Nigeria is not immune to it. But however, I have seen a situation where, I mean, we are expecting too much from government, and government is also shouldering too much to want to do. There are infrastructure facilities that I think that the government could actually seed out and stay back and collect rents or royalties from them. One of them is this issue of road itself. I feel you can give it to the private sector to begin to run, and government begins to collect revenue from it. I always like citing this example that from Abuja to my village could take me almost about 8 hours because the road is bad. If you give it to a private hands where government collect rents from and say, this section of the road, you are the one to manage it. Everybody who uses it pay 200 naira. There's a little less and wear and tear on my car. I'm also healthy. I'm not bouncing. I don't know whether I'm the one driving or the car is the one moving on the road by the time I get to my destination. That little 200 naira has saved me the money of buying shocks and all the rest of them, fixing my car. So I feel there are certain services that government is providing that I need government to take hands away from. And that will reduce our debt liability because the tendency to want to borrow by government becomes reduced. And I think there are bankable projects. There are private sector who stand up, banks will finance it and say, this section of the road has been awarded to me. I want to maintain it. I pay government. They will give it to you to want to begin to maintain it. So I think we really need to have government begin to, release certain things, as it were, on it. The other thing I wish had happened in this particular tax law, I agree to the fact that, look, we need to tie tax revenue to specific. Don't just tell me, don't give me the generic word that you want to say, tax revenue is going to be used to promote development. No. If you are collecting VAT, sir, VAT be tied to this particular project. I am collecting excise levy from this.
You're talking about specification now. Okay.
If you can say, I collect this particular amount of money, now gambling has actually been excised in this country. And that's one of the most beautiful developments. Gambling is a ₦1 trillion project in Nigeria. People sit in the comfort of their home and press button. They do Naija Bet, Kings Bet, Baba Ijebu, all the rest of them. If you know the revenue they generate from these things, government actually exercising it, putting an excise levy on, it's one of the most beautiful things that has ever happened. But then, can you then say, I generate this money, tie each tax revenue you collect to a particular project. That way it is easier for citizens to see what you're doing with the money, rather than telling me we aggregate the tax and this is what development we're providing for it. It makes it difficult for you to trace and to be able to hold government accountable to it. Beyond that, again, is the issue I had wished that we had corporate social responsibility incorporated into this particular new tax. Corporate social responsibility does not exist within our tax law. So if as a bank I go to a community and tar their road, it's my business. I was just promoting my corporate social image.
Okay.
My tax liability is not affected by what I do, but I want to see where we create a framework where if you are able to do this, government wants X, Y, Z done. If a corporate organization say, I want to do this particular one, I should be able to give them tax credit for doing it, and that way we can be able to put, some specifications to what we do, how our tax revenue is actually being used in promoting development.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaka, for that. We'll just hold the discussion right now. We'll take a break. A lot of comments and questions have come in. So after the break, we're going to read out your questions and your comments. Stay with us.
It is that time of the year again when we pause to say thank you for your trust, for your loyalty, and for staying with us every step of the way. Through the highs and the lows, the moments that mattered, the stories that shaped our nation. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, from compelling documentaries to quality entertainment, from public service information to stories that unite us as a nation. You made us your choice. We sincerely appreciate you. Our viewers, our partners, and our valued customers, thank you for your unwavering patronage throughout the year. And as we step into the new year, we are inspired to serve you better with greater dedication to professionalism, improved content, and stronger public service. NTA, trusted, authentic, reliable source of news, entertainment, and public service information. NTA, you can't beat the reach.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, SAC 0209-462-1168, 0916-772-3240. Let's work together to uphold the integrity of Nigeria's financial system. Announcer, FSRCC.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify, with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira will be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools, and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks, and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks, and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. State category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
This December, all eyes in Morocco. Africa assemble. All dreams are heading one way.
Planetary movement aligning. All passion, all fire. Because here, we play different.
Choose your side.
Show your colors. Bring your flag.
And we welcome you to Morocco.
Get ready for the drama, the passion, the pride. From 21st December 2025 to 18th January 2026, history will be made again.
You guys ready?
Time to wake up.
Afro Sport, your freedom of sport.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. And the discussion is still on the new tax law, the implementation of the new tax laws. And our guests are still here in the studio. We already have comments and questions from our viewers, which we would like to read out now for our guests to respond to. This one is, says, why is government deducting withholding tax at source from gross amount? That is, for instance, if my gross is 10,000, the government takes 100 from gross and my tax after net is 30. Why is government not refunding the difference? Mr. Laride. Okay, let me read the others. Good morning, NTA. My name is Rachel Joseph, a civil servant from Kaduna State. What I don't understand about this tax is that an income earner will show his transaction or account to a tax organization or agency before the tax is deducted. Because the guests have been saying we will submit our account at the end of the year. To whom are we submitting our account exactly? Because I thought government has access to our account already, which can be deducted automatically. Thank you. Now, this one is from Lawal Mustafa. Lawal Mustafa says, talking about this tax about government, I would like to know if I say I have different number of bank accounts, will be charged differently based on what we have or businesses we do with different accounts. Secondly, we are paying all these taxes to the federal government. Will other tax from states and other private business owners be stopped, especially the banks and network providers? Okay, that's from Lawal Mustafa. This is Bobby, Arizona. It says, also, how will the new tax address the complexity of taxing businesses, individuals with multiple income streams, and inactive companies, and what support systems are available to help these groups comply with the regulations? When using USSD that doesn't have any opportunity for narration, how can it be done to prevent tax? Then this is from Thiru Hysens. It's from Abakaliki. It said, good morning, Nigeria and discussant. Some of the clarifications made here by some of the discussants were vague. For instance, the discussant that talked about the new law allowing for reclamation of VAT, of VAT, didn't tell us how the reclaim can be done. I therefore suggest that this program should have part 2, where clearer clarification will be done. Of course,
we'll have
we're going to have
tomorrow,
part 2
yeah.
tomorrow. Is a continuous discussion because, you know, it's something, it's a topical issue. So maybe, Mr. Olaride, you want to respond to some of these?
Before I get to read out the rest.
Okay, so the first one is to address the issue of bank account again.
Yes.
Government does not, will not tax your bank account. I would have said government does not have access to your bank account. So because if I have access to something, I can do anything I want with that. Government does not have access to your bank account. And government does not have the power to also tax your bank account. So that is supposed to be clear. And government will not tax your bank account. So it says, instead of me, why bother declaring again when government have access to it? No, government does not have access to it. And the law, I always come back to Constitution. It says you yourself to declare your income, and has given you that levity to declare and pay your taxes. That is what the law said. And now, government, what the law is now doing, which the tax reform is also declaring, to say who are those supposed to pay the income tax. Okay, if the Constitution says everybody, because the Constitution says everyone, they say every citizen must declare. So that's if you are making an income. The law now says, okay, we need to now ease burden on some class of persons. It first says minimum wage earners. Sorry, we know you are just barely surviving. No tax for you. If your taxable income, and I hear people say when you are earning 800,000 and below, no, that's not what the law said. The law says your taxable income is not more than 800,000 naira. And for your taxable income to be around 800,000, you must have earned about 1.2 to 1.3 million naira. So what it means is that even when you are earning 1.3 million naira, you are still paying no tax. You are paying at 0%. Okay. So for an individual, you need to be clear. Okay. And also, and when you look at all this, even Dr. Kennedy had mentioned it before. If you are even earning about 18 million, you have a reduced tax. So the burden of taxes is reduced on striving Nigerians.
Okay. I like the fact that you say that minimum wage work earners are barely surviving. I hope the government is listening.
Well, the law recognized that.
Okay, fine. So let me read some of the comments that came in. You know, one of them said, if the implementation of the new tax law would reduce the high rate of the country's borrowing, I think it will be a welcome development. Gaskia, we want to see the impact of this tax law. We want to see clear accountability and transparency. Thank you. That's from Chris Simon. Another one said, greetings to you all. Concerning this implementation of new tax law, what about students? Are they going to be taxed? Also, what specific measures are being implemented to ensure that the new tax laws in Nigeria promote fairness and transparency, particularly for small businesses and low-income earners? And how will the government address potential loopholes, ambiguities that may lead to exploitation or unequal treatment? Another one said, please, I need clarification on a civil servant who undergo international trip. He received his escort payment and the figure is more than 800K. Again, he borrowed to pay his flight ticket in the end. All the money paid into his account. Now, how do you define such a situation in the new tax reform if you're using a benchmark of 800K? Remember, same civil servants pay tax from source. Another one said, Osaniku from Asaba said, don't you think that the new tax law will drive money underground, whereby some businessmen will stop putting their monies in the bank? That's from Asaba. Now I say good morning to all the members in the studio. You people are doing a good job. My question is voluntary annuity taxable under the new tax law? I don't even know what annuity is actually. And another one said, good morning, Sam. I do clarify the worsening effect of this tax law on the common man through inflation on markets, prices of goods and services. That's Cedar from Lagos. Well, before you respond to that, let me come to Mr. Onwodu. We'll talk, the program is ending, but I know we have a part 2 tomorrow. Let's talk about the risk assessment here now. What are the biggest risks in the implementation, in your opinion, and what should government watch out in the first year?
Okay, I want to also join Femi to say that government will not tax any bank account. And the law has provided what we call tax dispute resolution in case you disagree with any assessment given to you. Nobody will remove money from your bank account. If the tax officials feel that you're not paying tax, they can only raise assessment. If they use data analytics to discover you have a lot of transactions in bank account that you're not filing your returns and not paying, they will just raise an assessment to you. And the law says when an assessment is raised for you, you have 30 days to object. And that's section 41. Section 141 says you also have opportunity to sit down with them and do reconciliation and settle it amicably. If it doesn't work, you also have opportunity to go to tax appeal tribunal and petition. And from there, you can go to Federal High Court, to Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court. So you can see the law has provided, even go to tax ombudsman, tax complaint commission, you can petition the tax to summon the tax authority if you feel that they are doing the wrong thing to you. So you can see the law has provided a provision that will protect the taxpayer under the tax dispute resolution. So this fear of they will remove my money. No tax authority in the law didn't provide that.
Then why are Nigerians afraid? Because we just read in the paper. We read in the paper review.
That is why we are here, so that we allay those fears that are coming from the.
We read in the paper review that people have withdrawn most of their money, and there's no cash.
I've read all the tax laws. There's no place the law allows revenue authority to take money from your account, and revenue authority can never touch your account without first of all raising administrative assessment. When they raise an assessment, you go and respond to say, no, this is not what I'm supposed to pay. You sit down with them, reconcile, and the matter is resolved. You can also take the matter to tax ombudsman, tax complaint commission they set up, or even go to tax appeal tribunal. And as far as it's not final and conclusive, nobody has right to place lien on your account. You understand that? But I want to say something about the risk here. Let us be mindful that what was harmonized is the federal tax laws. I'm saying it again.
Not states.
Not states. The state and local government tax laws has not been harmonized. I want to say so Nigerians to hear. The government is sitting to do that harmonized. Right now, the local government has so many levies and taxes they're collecting. Yeah. The state has so many levies and taxes they're collecting. What we are saying, harmonize them. We can say local government collect only 2. It can be tenement trade and development levy. The state, or collect like 3. It can be personal income tax, grand rate, and to give businessmen respite. Because what federal government has succeeded in this tax is to harmonize the federal taxes. And you know that you cannot harmonize the state and local government taxes without carrying the 36 states internal revenue, 36 state House of Assembly along. It's not something federal government can do. They have to carry the 36 states House of Assembly along for you to harmonize state and local government taxes. So we need to put it clear. So this is part of the risk we're talking about, because when people hear about reforms, they will say, we're not going to pay. Local government will still come and give you this thing. State will still come and give you. So you have to still pay those ones because they have not been harmonized. So that's the area I want to respond.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Wendu. Let's look at the effect of this tax law on investment climate, because from what he said, that every dividends and investment now will now be taxed. You pay tax on it. Do you think how would this affect the investment climate and economic growth there? Ishao?
For you to have a good business environment, you need to consider ease of doing business. And in considering ease of doing business, you look at parameters of payments from service rendered. And of course, some evade taxes. These multinationals and bigger corporations evade taxes. But with the new tax law, we are expecting them to respect the business environment, which is making them billionaires. So for us, we are not taxing their investment, but we are taxing what the economy has provided for them, and therefore there is need for them.
We're talking about the investment now. We're talking about people who put their money in stocks, in maybe, what do you call it now?
Mr. Adam, the essence of tax is to give efficiency. Efficiency in business transactions. So whatever prospect that you are looking in stock exchange, in investment, in portfolios, there is need to understand the types of tax that is attached. The company income tax, the profit after tax, all these things. But the compound nature is what this administration of tax is trying to regulate. That is charging multiple taxes, harmonizing them will make it more efficient and will make it more friendlier. Whatever that, like I said initially, individuals don't want to pay tax. Corporate organizations don't want to pay taxes. But there must be taxes for us to have a good economic environment that we can all thrive.
Indeed, that we can all thrive. Mr. Kaka, you know, one person sent a question that, do you think the new tax law will drive money underground, whereby some businesses will stop putting their monies in the bank?
Okay, thank you very much. I don't think that is anywhere correct. I don't think it will drive money on the ground. Like I think we've established it in this conversation here that the tax is a progressive one. Low-income earners are not expected. In fact, I could live in this country and don't pay any tax if my businesses falls within the threshold, except I begin to consume items that are taxed, for instance, like VAT. If I go to a club and then buy a bottle of wine and expel, they said I'm not going to pay tax because I'm a low-income earner. You've got to pay on it. As long as a bottle of water you have in front of you, as been said, is not VATed, does not mean you walk into a club or a restaurant where it's not a place value in the first instance. It's no longer in the shop outside. It's not sold for 200 naira anymore. There's an element of it you've got to actually pay. I liked what he said about saying, look, state laws have not been harmonized. So the man who drives a taxi cab, I did some studies for an organization on the informal sector taxation. The taxes they still collect, the taxes and levy they still pay still remains there. So you still go out, you still find these people representing local governments on green T-shirts by the road outside here, waiting for the next cab to pass, and they issue me 200 naira receipt, and they still collect it. You go to garage and load, they still charge you 1,000. All those other things still remain because that's how local government, I mean the subnationals, actually generate their revenue. So it's important to say that it's not going to affect it. But one thing must be made clear. We know that the government, like he said, that yes, government has no business with your bank account. But I dare to also say this, and I stand to be corrected. Government does not have any business, whatever labels you give to them in your bank account. But if you receive money through it in doing business, you know, sometimes ago, EFCC bundled up one young chap because of his flamboyant lifestyle, e-money, and they turned the guy upside down, shipped him, and he wasn't doing anything illegal. He was doing e-commerce businesses. These are big money-spinning business. People sit there in the comforts of their home. Gone are the days you see any boy who sits at home is doing yahoo yahoo. He's working online. He's making cool money. But these guys were not covered by a tax net before. The new tax law has actually covered them. We admit now that you are doing business online and you're generating a lot of revenue. You need to also come into the tax bracket and pay us. And that's one of the beautiful things, this particular new tax. To respond to the question, if students pay tax, no, students don't pay tax. As a matter of fact, the development levy, come 2030, the whole development levy of 4% is devoted to the student education loan fund. That's what that money is going to be meant for. So students don't pay tax, except you want to consume something that is actually being VATed or which tax is actually upon of it. One of the beautiful things is that, yes, one challenge I have, not a beautiful thing, is the fact that, yes, the GENCOs do not pay VAT. The transmission companies don't pay, but the electricity distribution companies are being VATed, and which means I, as a consumer, the electricity I consume is also having an element of VAT into it. I was hoping that because, yes, you free my income, but there are a couple of other ways you're also trying to collect the money from me. It is good to know that, yes, kerosenes, cooking gas, and the rest of them are not VATed, but at least some of the other items I feel are still being VATed. On issue relating to inflation and tax, I think it's to understand that taxation is a fiscal policy and the authority responsible for it. Inflation is actually monetary policy issues. And I'm trying to say, like he said earlier, it's important there must be some harmony between the two of them. And I think one way around it is what central bank has just done and say, look, I need to limit the amount of ceiling of cash collections. Because if you do a lot of cash transactions, when there is a dispute in terms of your tax liability, they want to see your books. And at the end of the day, if it's not there, it becomes either here nor there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kaka, for that. As we begin to just round up this conversation,
we have 1 minute to
let
go.
me just ask Mr. Olarule, what are penalties? What are the penalties for non-compliance?
In 30 seconds.
Okay. Sorry, I just want to address something before we go. About, Dr. Kent spoke about the risk and talking about state and local government, he also mentioned. yes, the law. We practice fiscal federalism. States, federal, and local government have the power for tax collection at their level. However, there is, because I'm a staff of the NRS, and we are a member of the Joint Revenue Board, the states are now signing on to a pact that gives a single and harmonized tax collection rules, because it's in their state. So it allows them to reduce the number of taxes across subnationals too, pending when the Constitution can be amended to address that.
Okay,
so now, going to your question about...
we have to pause you. I'm sure you're going to be here tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll round it up tomorrow. We'll continue tomorrow.
Okay.
So because we've run out of time, Femi Olarinde, SA Tax Policy, Nigeria Revenue Service, Head Fiscal and Tax Reforms Implementation Division. Thank you so much for your clarification on issues. We appreciate you. I'm sure you'll be here tomorrow to break it down. Chris Kaka, economist and policy analyst, and National Coordinator, Trade Network Initiative. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yusha Aliu, economist. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Kennedy Iwundu is an associate professor forensic accounting at ICT University, Cameroon. Managing partner, Accounting Tools Consulting. He's also the immediate past chairman of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, Abuja District. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
For coming. We appreciate you. And that's Good Morning Nigeria. Don't forget, we have the part 2 of this conversation tomorrow coming up, and then our guests will be able to bring out more clarification on the new tax laws. Thank you so much for watching. I am Joma Yusuf.
And I'm Ademola Adeoye. Thanks for watching, and have a lovely day.